Hello, everyone. It's Cal Gould again here for another interview about our ball hockey history in Edmonton. We have with us an individual that was there in the early years and was quite successful with the teams he was involved with. So let me ask, who are you and where are you from?
Lorne Rusnell, born and raised here in Edmonton, still living here.
Can you tell me what are some of your earliest memories of playing unorganized street hockey or ball hockey or anything of that nature in your youth?
Right. When I was 1 year old, I moved to a neighborhood called Belvedere, and I grew up two doors down from a pair of brothers, Mitchell and Gerald. So we were neighbors and we were best friends right from diapers on. And growing up, it turned out there was a little park, a little field that our houses surrounded, a little private playground, if you will. And so we utilized that to play all kinds of sports: baseball, football, soccer, but mostly hockey. Hockey was our love. So we played hockey every season, summer, winter, it didn't matter. We were out there playing. And we just played an awful lot. Sometimes we'd play in the alley, lots of times on the street. In the wintertime, we'd shovel out the field and it would be like kind of a snowy ice and we'd still be able to play our ball hockey back there. So as we got older, our radius grew and other people from Belvedere would come and join us. And it was like a little league almost in and of itself. And that's how we got to know people like Bruce Straka and Glenn Kubish and Barry Collier and Perry Barazan and et cetera, Mira Melli, Rob Skrayko, et cetera. And so, yeah, we were all really competitive. We played for something called the Silver Cup. We created our own trophy and challenged that. So finally, when we got to be teenagers, a lot of us had already been playing ice hockey and things, but in terms of ball hockey, when we were 17, we decided to enter a team into a city gymnasium league. So there was a city gym league. I don't remember what it was called exactly, but Mitch and Gerald and I, we often would talk about hockey, and we were entering a team. We walked around and knocked names around, and we came up with the name the Emperors. And so we entered the team, the Emperors, right there in this gym league, and played the 1 year, and we won it. We pulled down the championship, and it was that's still probably my favorite one out of all the bunch that we pulled. But that was the beginning of it. And after that, when we won that, some people that were in the CCBHA told us about their league and said, you guys are turning 18, so if you want, you can come. But they said, you're not going to find it so easy in that league. And well, that was a big challenge for us. So we decided to do that exactly. And we entered the league the very next year as 18-year-olds.
Okay, so you mentioned that you were involved with other sports, organized sports. What exactly were those types of organized sports that you played?
For organized sports, I played some baseball and some ice hockey. I played ice hockey up until about Pee Wee, and then my family couldn't really afford it anymore, so I had to, retire from that. But at least I had the outlet of ball hockey because I just loved the sport. I played many other sports though, like golf and tennis. I mean, many sports. I played golf, tennis, and badminton and lacrosse. I mean, a whole bunch of things.
So you were a very active individual, and I'm sure there were a lot of other players that you were involved with that were likewise. Now, you mentioned that you entered the team into the organized league. That's the Capital City Ball Hockey Association. You entered as the name Emperors.
Yeah.
You said you were 18. Were most of the players that you were playing with the same age, or were there some individuals?
Our core was 18. Mitch and I were 18. Glenn was the same age. I think Bruce was the same age. Rob Skrayko was our age or 1 year older. Perry might have been our age or 1 year older. So the whole core of our team, we were just teenagers.
How many years do you think you played with the Emperors together?
Our team lasted for 1 year in the gym league, and then we played for 5 years together in the CCBHA. We won all 5 years, the championship, and then we had some of our original guys. Obviously, some guys come and go, but our core, our bigger core group, I guess, if you will, some of them decided that they didn't want to play anymore. So at that point, we had to decide: are we going to keep going with the name Emperors or disband that, sort of retire that name? And we decided to retire the name, but the core of our team, we weren't ready to retire yet. So we decided to keep going. We joined, I think it was first the West Stars after we disbanded. So the core of our team, Mitch, myself, Barry Collier, Glenn Kubish, and Gerald, we joined the West Stars. And we might have even had Wes Craig with us by that point. Wes probably played our last year with the Emperors, but I'm not 100% sure on that. He was certainly with us with the West Stars, though. And it was the connection of the Dallasels that got him there. So then we went with the West Stars, and we won the championship again with them. And then I can't remember if I was thinking it was 2 years, but Mitchell and Gerald say it was only one. So however many years it was, 1 or 2, we won championship with them. And then we left that team and joined the Vandals. And then we won the championship with the Vandals the first year with them as well. And then other guys wanted to retire. So that was pretty well the end of the road. So we all kind of retired at that point. Injuries are mounting. Then Mitch called me like 2 years later, and he said he had some friends playing in the EBHA. I think it was second or third division. I'm not even sure. It was probably third, actually. Team called the Brewers. And so Mitchell and I went and played for them. And it was we were older, fatter, and slower, but it was a big difference between first division and third division. So these old fat men playing defense, we were just racking up a lot of numbers. It was kind of fun, and we won a title with them as well. And then that was really the end. The injuries were getting too bad. I actually did come back though. Years later, I'm a teacher. So at my school, one of my coworkers, I found out he plays ball hockey, just pick up once or twice a week. And I said, "Oh, that's interesting. I'm old and fat now. I'd like to get some exercise." So I asked if I could join, and they said, "Yeah." And that was maybe around 10 years ago. So I went and played. The first night was really quite funny. The very first shift, I was so excited, to be playing again after all those years. So I went out there, went hard. It was a very short shift, maybe a minute, but I popped 2 goals. I got 2 goals. I come off my shift, and I'm sitting on the side. I'm huffing and puffing. I go on for the second shift. I didn't score, and when I got back to the sideline, I was like wobbly. I was feeling not good. And then the third shift, I went out there, and I could barely run. And when I came off, I just remember really wobbling. And then the next thing I remember was opening my eyes, and all these guys, strangers, looking down at me. I had passed out. Like I literally hit the deck. And they wanted to know if they should call an ambulance for me. And I said, no, I'll be fine. So I went and took a break and came back, and I kind of just trotted around for the rest of that night. But I refused to give up. I kept coming, and gradually got into better and better shape with it. But then I tore the meniscus in my knee, and then that was the end.
Since you played so many other types of sports, in comparison to the other organized sports that you played, how would you, or what's your impression of the ball hockey organization in comparison to some of the other organized sports that you played?
I mean, it seemed more developed because we're playing in indoor facilities for one. The league seemed reasonably well organized, and it led to something. There was a provincials that we could shoot for, and then after that, if you won that, there was something else. So I guess in that regard, it was the most organized and advanced sport that I played. Some of my other sports were sort of individual, right? So with like, for instance, I spent a lot of time at golf, but that's an individual sport.
Was there any other way that you were involved in the sport, such as a referee, manager, coach, volunteer, anything along that line?
I did a little bit for my son. My son wanted to play ball hockey, so I went out a couple of times, to share some things with their group and such, but not too much. I mostly was a dad watching in the stands, but played a little bit there and or coached a little bit with that. So beyond that, no, not really.
Okay, there are numerous levels of ball hockey now. Some refer to them as tier levels, but also as division, like men's league A, B, C, etc. What was the highest level that you ever played in ball hockey? What would that be classified as for you?
Well, the first year we joined the CCBHA there in 1983, when we were 18-year-olds, there was only one league. Everyone played everyone, and there was only one trophy. So I guess you could call that first division. And well, we won the league. So every year after that, we were in first division. And certainly we were beating every team that we came across. There was only one team that I knew of in the province that was better than us, and that was the Nordiques in the EBHA. They reminded me a lot of us, but just they were a little older, more advanced.
That brings me to my next question. Which provincials, regionals, or nationals did you ever play in?
Right, we played in a whole bunch of provincials. I guess every year, if you win the CCBHA, then you're going on to provincials. So that means we must have gone a good at least 7 or 8 times in a row. Yeah, each year. But since we couldn't get past the Nordique, that means we didn't manage to go on to the nationals, unfortunately.
Yes, the Nordiques were certainly a premier team that was pretty powerful back in the 80s. Now, let me ask you this. Do you have any favorite memories of ball hockey, both as a individual and as a team? Like, what are your favorite memories?
We had a little tradition after our games that a group of us would go to McDonald's after a game, talk over the game, relive it, have some food, and just hang out. One night, the team clown, who is Tony Chaves, he's no longer with us, unfortunately, but he was a great guy, and he's just a funny guy. And I don't know why, but this particular day, he just wanted to embarrass the whole group of us. So he walks into the restaurant. It was quite a busy restaurant, and very loudly he barks out like he's selling treats at the football game, popcorn and penis. So he got a big kick out of saying penis instead of peanuts in public. And lots of people were looking at us. It was just, we were dying of embarrassment, but Tony was having a real hoot from it. Other stories that I recall, the most vivid championship out of the bunch for me was the very first one. So just in the gym league, we won. We were told we couldn't win, but we did. And we, when we got that trophy and that win, our core group, the handful of us, we packed into somebody's car and we're driving around the city singing "We Are the Champions." I'll never ever forget that. It was just a glorious feeling, and that's the night that we went to watch the CCBHA. Their finals were on, because we already knew we were probably going to join next year the CCBHA. We wanted to see what does the best team look like. So I think the Rangers might have been the champions that year. So we were watching and deciding whether we could compete with them or not. So I remember that quite clearly. And at the provincials, probably the biggest memory I have, the closest we came, there was a year, probably in the later 80s, when we went up to Fort McMurray and for the provincials up there. And we really had a good team. I think it was our best team ever. We picked up Doug McCarthy for that. I think Terry Bobinski we picked up, and we had a new player that probably very few people knew about, Barry McKinley, and he was a phenomenal talent. I couldn't believe what he could do. And I just thought with him, that's a secret weapon. This guy, he could score from center. And I thought, I think we're going to win. The only problem, we were shorthanded. We didn't have a very big, big numbers. We only had like 4D, and Gerald was only playing like 3 of us. So they had like 2 lines, and that was it. Like it was skinny. So we were cruising through the tournament, and then we were winning some game like 8-1 with 1 minute to go in the game. And the referee made a call that Barry didn't like. And so Barry started to argue with the ref, and I think he like shoved the ref after the game or something. Well, he gets tossed out of the tournament. And oh my goodness, the next game we had to play Nordiques, and we didn't have our secret weapon. So I think a lot of us, we played like the games of our lives. We were shorthanded. I'll bet I played out of 40 minutes. I'll bet I played about 38 that game. And I was absolutely and utterly exhausted after that game, but left it all out on the floor. It felt good. Even though we lost, it felt good. And so we're all kind of laying around in the dressing room afterward. There weren't many of us, so there was lots of space. And I just remember laying down on the bench, too tired to peel my equipment off, my sweater. And Barry's in the dressing room just acting like, everything's fine. And he starts taking ice cubes out of the bucket and just shooting them off, like they were hitting the walls like bullets. And they're going off around our heads. And we're just like, what are you doing? It's it's a vivid memory. But I think with Barry in tow there, we lost by 1 goal, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe that we could have won that, and that might have been our year.
Those are good stories. Great to tell there about the competition and the dedication that some players have under the most challenging situations. Did you ever have any other family members play the sport of ball hockey? You mentioned something earlier.
Yeah, my son played a little bit. I think for 2 or 3 years he played, but he's not playing anymore now.
What do you feel has been the greatest impact on the sport of ball hockey?
Well, I'm not sure why its popularity grew so much, and I understand it's doing very well today. I wonder if the fact that a number of professional, NHL caliber players started playing ball hockey helped to increase the popularity of the sport. I'm not sure about that. Certainly, the Emperors, we had guys like I mentioned, Perry Barazan grew up in our neighborhood, and he ended up playing in the NHL. We had Banning. We had a number of guys who played collegiate hockey or very high levels of hockey. So I think a lot of ice hockey players realize that it's a tremendous training mechanism for them in off season. You can't glide in ball hockey.
That's a common statement made by many when they compare ice hockey with ball hockey. What advice would you give to someone that wants to play ball hockey?
Oh, I used to tell my students all the time, if you can play some team sport, you should really jump at that chance. You learn so many skills and values that are going to serve you well in your life. So ball hockey is a tremendous sport to play. It can be hard on the body though, but it was worth it. I would do it all over again, even though I've got dents on my shins to this day and wonky ankles and a bad back. I wouldn't change that.
Is there a person, if they were here right now, that you would want to thank for getting you involved in ball hockey?
Well, the first people that come to my mind are my brothers, Mitchell and Gerald. They're the ones that had the idea of creating a team. And as I said, the 3 of us, we would spend endless hours walking, going on long walks, and all we talked about was ball hockey all the time. It was very, very important to us. And I believe that's one of the reasons we were so successful at it, because we were just passionate about it. It mattered a lot to us. And Gerald really encouraged me. He made me believe that I could be a good player.
The sport of ball hockey, as we mentioned earlier, has gone to very high levels. and it has gone worldwide, is now
Yeah.
what's called the International Sport and Ball Hockey Federation. International Street and Ball Hockey Federation. And there are world championships that take place for
Yeah, that's
men's,
pretty awesome.
women's,
Yeah.
under 17. What do you see or hope to see for the future of ball hockey?
Well, I guess just more of the same. I mean, it's already reaching those pinnacles. I guess what you'd like to see is it maybe spread into non-traditional markets and places, countries. Just get the whole world to realize how beautiful game hockey and ball hockey is. The most popular sport worldwide is football, soccer. But I think if more people had a chance to understand ball hockey, it's not that expensive to play ball hockey. I think that its popularity would for sure increase even more. I had some students, I think, who achieved very high levels in ball hockey. One was Arjun Guman. He's from Edmonton, I believe that. I think I got the name right. And his sister Amrit, I think, also. Do you know them?
I recognize the woman. Yes, they played at very high level. Yes.
Yeah, I think maybe they went to Worlds, but
Yep.
certainly nationals for sure.
Yes. Now, is there anything you would like to add that we didn't discuss? Anything you'd like to share? Anything at all?
No, not really. I could mention, you were saying, the records of the sport, the archives, it's important. I think somewhere in my cellar, I've got boxes of old newsletters from CCBHA, and I know for sure I've got copies. They're just on VHS, but some of the games of the Emperors. So I probably have about a dozen or 15 games taped, and probably a whole bunch of old newsletters. So I'd like to share those with whomever before they're lost. But I have to find them first. These old newsletters.
Well, that is I think that's the challenge pretty well anywhere across the whole country for ball hockey, is whether or not it's been maintained or stored, or if it can be preserved or at least retrieved and maybe put into a digitized form so that all can see. Because not many people have VHS players anymore. I know that for a fact.
That's right. I'd strongly recommend that you interview Mitchell and Gerald Delasell. They have a stronger memory of the early days than I do. I think just simply because they talked about it so often, and then they were brothers. So when they were together, they were talking about it even when I wasn't there. So they really they'd be able to fill in some details that might have been forgotten here.
Sure. Well, thank you, Lorne, for your time. I appreciate it. You gave a lot of insight into the sport, and you are certainly one of the few. If they put names on a cup like they do on the Stanley Cup, your name would appear repetitively there for quite a few years.
Yeah, thank you, Kel. Yeah, it was. Those are memories you'll never forget. I love the saying. Somebody said, when you win championships, you walk together in history, and that's the way our group feels. We still have team reunions from time to time, and it's a really cool bond. And the sacrifices you make for your team, it's worth it. Yeah.
I like that, what you just mentioned there. It's sacrifices you make for the team. Thank you for your time.
Okay, Cal, thank you.